In this video, we will go through a simulation of Formative. To start, you must open up the Formative on the teacher side. I'm going to select Activities, and then find the Formative that you are administering. So I will select my Formative. And notice that we have three buttons here. We have Edit, Responses, and Insight. Edit will allow you to make changes to the Formative. Responses is how you can monitor your students working within Formative. One of the great features of Formative is that you can monitor your students in real time and offer them feedback. First, I'm going to drill down into my class and notice there is one student working within the Formative. So for the simulation, I will also be working off of a Chromebook as the student. While the student works through the Formative, you will notice progress being updated on your teacher console. So we'll start with the first question. So the student is now on question 1 and will enter in an answer. If you look at the screen, there is a green tab running across question number 1. That means that the student got that one correct. Moving on to question 2. Now the student entered in an incorrect answer. Now as the teacher, I can click on this question to see what they entered in. So here is the question and here is the answer. I can type a message to the student and I can enter in and send this message. Now the student on their side, they notice that there is on question 2, now there is some feedback. So the student can now go back to question 2 and change their answer. Now the student entered in the correct answer and you can see that it lit up green. Also from the student side, they have the ability to ask you questions. So now the student is on question number 3. The student can click and ask you a question. So I'm going to type a question in as the student. So now the student is sending a question to the teacher, and on my screen I can see that now this student has a question for me. It pops up on the screen, but it also pops up here under question number 3. So if I click on it, I can see that this student submitted a question about this. Once I've typed in my response, I can click send. So now I'm telling the student, if I try to help them with this one, I'm basically giving them the answer and that he or she has to take a guess. The student guessed and got this one wrong. Now, this is one of my required questions. So the student has, this question is required. It also has a hint. When the student clicks the hint, notice there is a gray tab that appears here. That tells me as the teacher that the student is using a hint. In some cases, you may want to give the student half credit for using a hint, but this is the indicator, this gray tab here. Now the student used the hint, got the correct answer, and now we are on to the final question. So right now, if you take a look at my teacher screen, I can see that so far my student has 75% of this Formative correct. On to the final question. Student answers the question. It is incorrect. Now on the last question, the student has a submit button. So when he or she hits submit, the student now has a grade on their screen, and you can see that now there is a check mark here and a grade for the Formative. Once it's finished, the student can hit return. If you click Insights, now again, this is only for one student, but you can always toggle back and forth between responses and insights, and you'll see how the group is doing overall. And that was a quick and easy example of a student taking a formative.